Hello and welcome to the Daring Does Show. My name is Peace George. I'm also known as the Sweet Pea. Welcome. Today we're talking about trauma. We do have a guest in the house. Hi, Antoinette. How you
Hello,
doing?
hello. How are you? Thank you
I
for
am
having me.
fine. Thank you so much for coming into the studio today. Antoinette is an international author, a life coach, an expert, and trauma survivor. Now, Antoinette, you know why you're here, and we're so glad to have you. On this show, we
Thank you.
always bring in experts to talk about specific topics. And so now that you're here, they already know that it's because you're an expert on this topic. But before we go on, Antoinette, please, I want to know more about you. Who is Antoinette Mitchell? All over and above all of this, who are you?
Antoinette is a person who is just full of information. I have walked a journey of many, many things. I used to be in the entertainment industry as a rapper and a singer. I used to be a sales rep and brand ambassador for many different companies. I've modeled, I've worked in the radio, I've done a lot of different stuff. And all this time, I've just been capturing all this knowledge and all these skills, just adding to the box and waiting for the moment that someone needs that information to use it for something to
Wow.
make them better. You know,
Mhm.
being a person that helps other people through experience actually gives me great joy and helps me elevate each time I do it. So
Wow.
I'm just this ball of energy that's like, here's all this stuff. What do you need?
So good. I love that. You're so full of life, and I love that. Thank you so much. And you're in the right place because what we do here
Thank you.
is that we inform, we inspire, and we also impact lives. So this is the place to do all of
Yes.
these things that you have said. And I know you brought all the energy that we need Antoinette. So let's go into the business of today. What is trauma? You're a trauma expert and survivor. So you're the right person to ask this question. What is trauma?
Well, trauma is an emotional response that is caused by experiencing a single incident or a series of distressing or traumatic emotional or psychological events or both. Just because a person experiences a distressing event doesn't necessarily mean that they are going to be traumatized by that event. When a person experiences a distressing event or a series of events such as abuse, a bad accident, rape, or other sexual violence, combat, a natural disaster, they may have an emotional response, which is then called trauma. Trauma can be either physical or emotional. Yeah, physical trauma is a serious bodily injury. Emotional trauma is the emotional response to the disturbing event or situation.
Wow. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that.
You're
So
welcome.
are there things that cause these things? I want us to go into the sources of trauma.
Well, there are many main sources of trauma, such as domestic violence, natural disasters, severe illness or injury, the death of a loved one, witnessing an act of violence, any, like I said, sexual violences, rape, sexual assault, harassment, watching traumatic events on TV, in
Wow.
films, on the internet. Many of the overlooked causes are things that are like surgery, especially if it's in the first 3 years of life.
Wow.
The sudden death of someone that's close to you, the breakup of a significant relationship, or a humiliating or deeply disappointing experience, especially if someone was like deliberately cruel to you. If you're talking about childhood trauma, it's that can result from anything that disrupts a child's sense of safety. That's including things such as an unstable or an unsafe environment, separation from a parent, serious illness, intrusive medical procedures, a sexual, physical, or verbal abuse, emotional abuse, domestic violence, neglect. There's so many, so many.
Oh my God. I feel like you just talk about whole life generally because, um, we that's just life. You've just mentioned pretty much everything that happens around us. And it's just a huge surprise to me. Not because I don't know about trauma, but you've even mentioned things that I would normally think couldn't possibly be a cause. Like you said now, separation from a parent. Like we have that everywhere. Loss of a parent or a loved one. So then it's possible that the people around us are going through this right now, and you don't know the depth of it, and so you just assume that everybody's fine and all of that. Wow. What? So
Yes.
are there signs and symptoms? How do I know that the person around me is traumatized? How do I know? How can I tell?
Okay, well, we all react to trauma in different ways, experiencing a wide range of physical and emotional reactions. There's no right or wrong way to think, feel, or respond. So don't judge your reactions or the reactions of the other people, because it
Mm,
sometimes can be a tricky thing that you just don't know. Your responses are going to always be normal to an abnormal event. So a traumatic response is normal because it's an abnormal event that is taking place. Just because we see it a lot doesn't mean that it's a normal thing. We've normalized it. So some of those
mm,
emotional and psychological symptoms could be shock, denial, disbelief, confusion, difficulty concentrating, anger, irritability, mood swings,
mm,
anxiety, fear, guilt, shame, self blame, withdrawing from others, feeling sad or hopeless, feeling disconnected or numb. Some others are insomnia, nightmares, fatigue, um, basically being startled easily, racing heartbeat, edginess and agitation, aches and pains, muscle tension. You'd be surprised at how many people you probably hear say, if you talk to somebody consistently, that might complain of neck and back pain on a regular basis or a headache.
wow.
And if you know them personally, there's probably something that's went on in their life that is traumatizing that they're dealing with, and that's why they're having some of those issues.
Wow.
And you don't even see it that way because most of us don't connect certain things to trauma. When there's a connection to the trauma, is it causes a lot of issues in a lot of different areas.
Wow.
One thing. So imagine those people that got lots of things.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sitting down here and I'm thinking, Antoinette, are you kidding me? Like,
I
this
wish
is
I
life.
was.
This is life. You talked about insomnia. So, oh wow. I'm trying to figure out the depth of this because you made a statement. You said we have normalized an abnormal situation. And so the reaction we give to it, we give a normal reaction to it, but then they're still there, or there's the underlying thing trying to just burst out. And then you mentioned all these symptoms that when I look around me, we have normalized them, truly. You
We
know,
have.
I'm from Nigeria, which is a place where people don't even say they are depressed because there's a stereotypical sound to it. Once you say I am sad, like you're as if you're not allowed to react the way you want to react. Like there's just one way to react: be strong, just be strong. So I'm and I hear you on tonight because I hear you and I'm thinking, whoa, there's so many things that we've normalized, even pain. Even pain, we've normalized pain so much that you're thinking, okay, how will the people around me see me? How will they
Mm-hmm.
perceive me? Because it has become a culture, a language. We are in a culture right now that has normalized the abnormal.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
this is what makes I feel like this is where the importance of this discussion today lies. That you're
Yeah.
bringing your this is an awareness that is needed because it's hitting me that it's actually possible that I've been traumatized and I don't even know it. Like I don't even know because I'm trying so hard to normalize something. And I kid you not, Antoinette, like I grew up in a place where when you're crying, it's weakness. When you're you understand what I'm trying to say? Like you
I
can't
do.
there's a certain way to react, and if you're not doing that, there's something wrong with
That right there is the problem. Did you hear what you just said?
hmm,
There's something wrong with you. See, we have to understand that we need to take a trauma informed approach with people
hmm,
from day one. I think that it's fair to say we should approach even strangers with a trauma informed approach over a non trauma informed approach. Assume that the person experienced some form of trauma the first time you meet them, because 9 times out of 10, every person that you encounter experienced some kind of trauma at some point in their life. Now, whether it's a trauma that they had to do, that they are healing from for 10 years or 20 years or 1 month or 1 week, that's different. But having a trauma informed approach is more so what happened to you
hmm.
over what's wrong with you.
Whoa, whoa. And some people don't see the difference between in that. You see, whoa,
Big
whoa.
difference.
This,
So imagine meeting a stranger and you always, hi, how are you? What's
hmm,
your story? What happened to you?
hmm.
Over who are
What's
you?
wrong?
What's wrong with you?
You make that sound so terrible.
Because
Wow.
when you
Hmm,
compare it to that approach, it does sound terrible. And
hmm,
and to be honest,
hmm,
I'm as informed as I am, as much information as I have in this area. When I'm not in that life coach or traumatic situation or someone dealing with a certain type of situation, if I'm not in that space, I am guilty of saying, you good? What's wrong with you?
hmm.
I'm
You
guilty of
good?
it, even still.
Mm,
It's something that we have to work on because we've normalized it and it's a
wow.
habit now. And
Hmm,
the thing is, we have to go backwards, right? We have to say, where did where did this normalization start for
hmm,
us as a people, as a culture? I think really not as a culture, as a people, because it's a lot of different cultures having the same issue.
hmm.
Where did this start at? You know where it started at?
Where?
In the hospital room the day you came here. As
Hmm.
soon as you come out, they grabbing the baby and doing the smacking traumatic stuff to the baby.
Wow. Wow.
And you're
Whoa.
normalizing the baby to feel that pain and understand that you got to have this. Now go to your mama or go to whoever and cry for a minute, and until you stop and get some type of calmness to yourself. You're teaching
Whoa.
them right there. Now
Hmm.
granted, there's been some people that have had children that didn't have to go through that because they might have had a doula and did it on their own or did it at home.
Hmm.
But in the beginning of time is so much different stuff that made us normalize this trauma. Then if you want to talk about different things that were normalized just in our lives, you know, they were separating the household, they were separating the man and the woman, the family unit, whether it was because of the slave purposes where the man would go and do the work and the woman is over here doing her work with the in the house or around the house or whatever. That part, there's a separation there. There's another
Hmm.
piece of trauma that we were forced to be normal with, and after they
Hmm.
forced that on us, then we moved to now we're supposed to be independent and have this equal woman to man thing. That mindset is forcing us to normalize another types of trauma, and it's like all of these things point to the direction of be strong, be strong, be strong.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
word alone is a problem, because when you take on that mentality of thinking I have to be strong, you are taking on the mentality of saying I have to accept this. I have to
Mm.
be okay
Whoa.
with this. When no, you don't. You don't
Mm.
have to accept it. You can acknowledge the trauma. You can understand what it is that has transpired, what has happened, and why you feel these ways. Recognize what emotions are, constantly coming in and out that are making you go through what you're going through. And now let's try to work on reversing those things,
Wow.
because normalizing it don't help us. It really doesn't. It might seem like everything's okay, and then one day the big boom happens and you're not okay.
Mm. This is so good, Antoinette. Thank you so much. I feel
You're
like
welcome.
when I mean before you came out, when you talk about trauma, right? I'm before you started to speak, the whole picture was it has to be a plane crash. Like it has to be a plane crash kind of bad for it
Mm-hmm.
to be, that's the one that I feel like, oh, okay, then they can say, oh, now we understand the pain. We understand she can be pained or something like that. But something that I've seen people who were separated from their parents and, it's just get the hang of it and just move on. Like life
Listen,
happened.
I got
Like,
something for you.
hmm,
I want to ask you this question. So let's just say you left your house
hmm,
and you're coming back home from whatever you were doing, right? And
right,
you got these stairs. You got to walk up these stairs to get to your front door. And by your stairs, you got this nice big beautiful bush.
hmm,
And there's some type of animal. I don't know, a dog, a bear, whatever, an animal, right? And this animal is standing by that bush, and you can't go to your front door without
hmm.
going past this animal. Now, what you don't know is that animal left its babies in your bush,
Whoa.
but it came back while you were gone. It came back to get its babies. The
Hmm.
babies weren't there, and now you're there. What do you think that animal is going to do to you in that moment?
Attack you?
That animal's going to attack, right?
Yeah.
Now, animals, they're not humans. They
Hmm.
speak their own language, but they can't communicate with us the way we communicate with us. As far as if
Nothing.
you tell the animal, I don't have your baby, I don't know that your baby was there, is that animal going to understand that and not attack you because you said that?
No.
No.
Hmm.
So if an animal is going to react crazy, and that's the words we would use, right? We would say,
Um,
oh, the animal's acting crazy, it's acting
yeah.
wild. It's If that's the natural reaction that an animal would have,
Hmm.
why would it be any different for humans to react that same way when they're separated from their parents or their children? They are going to be erratic. They probably will have different emotions that are crazy. I know
Wow.
this because I went through that. I grew up
Hmm.
separated from my own parents most of
Wow.
the time. I became a parent and became separated from my own child. And I was acting like it was okay because I did feel sort of normal. At least I thought I did. You know what I mean? Because I was already normalized to not being around my parents. So
Hmm.
there was some normalcy in my brain that I thought I had. And then one day the big boom happened
Wow.
and I wasn't normal. And I had looked around and I'm like, all this stuff, I got to deal
Hmm.
with this stuff because I'm not normal and I'm not okay. And it's okay to be not okay.
Hmm.
I have days that I wake up recent, like in today's time, I have days that I think about things that I'm not 100% okay with, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to allow it to control the rest of my life or my whole day, because I've started to work on learning
Yeah.
techniques and tools that help make that make life easier when dealing with trauma.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. One clear thing that you have said is that it's not a respecter of culture. It's just everywhere. Everyone somehow, anyone can go through something. So I'm thinking it's so then it's not a general thing. Everyone has a way of reacting to whatever it is that happens to them. So whatever I can, kind of like take in, somebody else, it can be a little thing to me and be a huge deal. huge kind of deal, causing a great shock to someone else. So um
Absolutely.
I think when you said you have to have this trauma approach, I think that's the word you use
A
when
trauma
you're
informed
a
approach.
trauma informed approach when you're dealing with people. Yeah, I'm hearing be empathic, like just don't dish out your own kind of judgment to people. Let them react the way they want to react. Let them be, but just be empathic. And I think life is going to be better if we all did that. So I'm glad that I'm learning from this today. And I'm going to be checking my life also to see what are those really terrible things that I had to normalize because I wanted to fit in, and that may actually um, be hindering on some other things in my life that I'm not gaining clarity on. This is definitely um, something for me to take away. And I love it. I love that you're teaching all these things, even being vulnerable with your own story. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that.
You're
So
welcome.
how does one heal from trauma? Because I mean, if it's this part, we can't leave it hanging. How do you heal from something this big? How do you heal from it?
Well, I feel that healing is something that we're always doing. If you have a perfect body and then you break a bone, yeah, you go to the doctor and they fix it, and yeah, you might can use it again and walk on it, or whatever bone it was, but it's not 100% perfect as it was. And I shouldn't use the word perfect because we're not perfect, we're imperfectly perfect, but it's
Mm,
not how it was before the break or before the surgery or whatever. So I feel that healing is something we're always doing. You have to be kind to yourself. You have
mm,
to speak greatly to yourself. You have to love on yourself. You have to be kind to yourself. Also,
mm,
understanding and acknowledging what you experienced is very important, and speaking positively to yourself in regards to it. You have to
wow.
do that. Even if, because I'm always one to say that most of the things that transpire when it's like um, traumatic and childhood stuff, most of it isn't your fault. But
Mm,
there are traumatic situations that happen that are your fault. And even in that scenario, you have to still speak positively to yourself about it. You can acknowledge it, you can be honest, but you can't be mean to yourself. That's important.
mm,
Journaling, affirmations, art activities. Those are some things that I definitely do myself, and they work a great deal. Some trauma recovery tips are like moving. When you are experiencing certain things in your life currently and you're trying to get up out that funky space, you need to get up and get that body moving. Whether you
get
stand in one
moving.
spot and jump up and down, whether you go
Mm,
exercising, trauma disrupts your body's natural equilibrium, freezing you in
wow.
a state of hyperarousal and fear. So, as well as the burning off of adrenaline and releasing endorphins, exercise and movement can actually help repair your nervous system for real. Okay. So try exercising for 30 minutes or more on most days.
Mm,
Um, you can also add a mindfulness element. Instead of focusing on your thoughts or distracting yourself while you exercise, really focus on your body and how it feels as you move. Notice the
mm,
sensation of your feet hitting the ground. For example, the rhythm of your breathing while you're exercising. You can just think about, what I'm saying? You just
yeah,
really
yeah, I
focus
do.
on that. The feeling the wind on your skin if you're running outside, focusing on something else other than the traumatic experience and the things that happen are always good. Don't
Wow.
isolate.
Wow, don't
Another
isolate.
one, don't isolate. Yeah. It's different if you are having you time and you are to yourself but doing positive things. But
Mm,
isolation where you are where you don't want to withdraw from other people, because that type of isolation where you are by yourself but you're not doing any healing techniques, you're not doing positive things, you're just in that negative deep down space, that's not good. You
Mm,
definitely need to get around a group of people, connect with others face to face. That will help
mm,
you heal. Make an effort to maintain your relationships and avoid spending too much time by yourself.
wow,
Comfort comes from feeling engaged and accepted by others too. Ask for
wow,
support. You don't have to talk about the trauma itself. It's important that you have someone to share your feelings with face to face, someone who will listen attentively without judging you. You can turn to a trusted family member, friend, counselor, clergyman, whatever you need to do. It could be a stranger sometimes, actually,
mm,
that you don't have a relationship with, that can help with just giving you a space to release without
wow,
judgment, because they don't know you,
mm.
you don't know them.
That's
I've
right.
had
That's
many a
right.
conversations with people at the bus stop, people in a Uber.
Taxi drivers, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. Um, Participating in social activities,
Wow.
even when you don't feel like it, doing normal activities with other people, that can sometimes help. Activities have nothing to do with the traumatic experience. And if it do, then I can understand why you may stay away from that specific
Mm,
activity.
mm,
Reconnecting with old friends. Yeah, that's a good way. If you retreated from relationships that were once important to you, make the effort to reconnect. Joining a support group for trauma survivors.
wow.
That's really good. Connecting with others who are facing the same problems as you can help you reduce your sense of isolation, and hearing how others cope, that can help inspire you in your own recovery. Volunteering, that's
Wow.
always good. Helping others can be
Mm,
a great way to challenge the sense of helplessness,
wow.
that often accompanies trauma. You can remind yourself of your strengths and reclaim your sense of power by being a staple in your community by helping other people. Making new friends, that's a good one. Um,
That's
you
it.
know,
Wow.
yeah, that's always good to connect. Now, some people may find it difficult to connect. Many
Mm,
people who have experienced trauma find it difficult to connect with others because they feel withdrawn and feel like, oh, they're not going to want to, connect with me. If this is you, focus mostly on the exercising, on the moving, the jumping up and
mm,
down, swinging your arms and your legs, or just,
mm.
flailing.
So,
Vocal toning. Vocal toning is real good. I know it probably sounds strange. Yeah,
really?
yeah, I know it sounds strange, but it's really
Wow.
good. You can take yourself and sit up really straight here. Oop, sit up real straight and hum until you feel like a release and a pleasant vibration in your face. And it literally
Wow.
works.
That's so relaxing though. Oh my God. I feel so relaxed.
Yeah,
Wow.
it really works.
It do.
Um, There's another one that I do too. And you really can just take your fingers, you start from the top of your body and work your way down, just
Ooh.
tapping throughout your whole body, working your
Okay.
way down to bring yourself back to
Mm.
a comfortable place.
Wow. Wow.
Yep,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you so much. So, um, do we have any professional treatment available? I mean, you've shared tips and strategies as to how to do it on your own and just get yourself into that zone of balance. But are there professional treatments available?
There is definitely professional treatment. If you know when to seek professional help when you're having trouble functioning at home or at work, if you're suffering from severe fear, anxiety, or depression, if you're unable to form close and satisfying relationships, if you're experiencing terrifying memories, nightmares, or flashbacks,
Mm,
avoiding more and more of anything that reminds you of the trauma, emotionally numb and disconnected from other people, using alcohol and drugs to feel better. Those,
mm,
when you're at that point, you definitely want to seek out professional help. That's reaching out to a local therapist or counselor,
mm,
people of that nature. There are many ways of connecting with people. What I will say is you're gonna want to connect with someone that you feel comfortable with. I could say,
Mm.
hey, I have this great therapist that I'm working with, try her.
Mm.
And you may try her and say, you know what, she didn't work for me. And that's
Wow.
okay. And it's perfectly okay to switch up and go a different route. It may take you one time to find one good person. You may try three or four before you find your person. But
Wow.
definitely seek out professional help if you're experiencing any of those types of symptoms, because that's where it's like my self help isn't working. I got to do something
Mm.
different.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that. So powerful. So, what does the treatment for trauma look like, though? Like,
It's different for different people. In order for heal from your psychological and emotional trauma, you'll need to resolve the unpleasant feelings and memories you've long avoided, that you've discharged or pent up. That fight or flight energy. You're going to have to learn to regulate strong emotions and rebuild your ability to trust other people. A trauma specialist may use a variety of different types of therapy approaches in your trauma. I'm sorry, in your treatment.
yeah.
Somatic experiencing, focusing on like bodily sensations rather than thoughts and memories about the traumatic
Wow.
event. By concentrating on what's happening in your body, you can release pent up trauma related energy through the shaking, crying, and other forms of physical release. Cognitive behavioral therapy helps you process and evaluate your thoughts and feelings about a trauma. So your eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, that incorporates elements of cognitive behavioral therapy with eye movements or other forms of rhythmic left right stimulation that can unfreeze traumatic memories. There's lots of different ways people can that professionals can go about helping you and giving you different treatments. It just depends on that person's practice and their beliefs that they use, and what is important and comfortable for you and what your
Wow.
beliefs are.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So good. So, if I had a loved one who, is going through all of these things, how can I help them? They're dealing with trauma. How can I help them? What kind of role do I get to play in their lives? How do I
when a
help?
lo- Well, when a loved one has suffered trauma, your support can play a very crucial role in their recovery. You can be patient, you can be understanding. Healing
Wow.
from trauma does take time. So be patient with the pace of the recovery. And remember that everyone's response to trauma is very, very different. So don't
Mm.
judge your loved one's reaction against your own response or someone else's. You
Oh,
can
wow.
offer practical support to your loved one and help them get back into a normal routine. So that may mean helping with collecting groceries or doing housework, for
Mm.
example, or just simply being available to talk or listen. Don't pressure them or into talking if they don't want to talk, but be available when they do want to talk.
Wow.
Some trauma survivors, they will find it very, very difficult to talk about what happened. Even to this day, sometimes when I'm talking about my traumas, there might be a trigger there that make my voice start to tremble or shake or something,
Wow.
and then there's some that I don't talk about at all, not
Mm.
because um it's not because I don't want you to know per se, but maybe because it's just a situation that's so deeply connected that I don't want to go and visit that in this moment with you,
Mm.
because we're having a great day or a great
Mhm.
conversation or whatever. So
Wow.
don't force them to talk about what happened, because it may be very difficult. Allow them to open up to you when they're ready, and then you be there to listen or just hang out. Sometimes people just want your presence. You might give them
Mm.
an energy that just feels so great that they just want your presence. They might not want to say anything. You might just sit there and watch a movie. You might sit there and be on your computer working, and they're doing whatever they're doing, but just you being there is helpful to
Wow.
them.
Wow. Thank you.
Uh,
So, go ahead.
you
Go ahead.
you're welcome. You're welcome. I was just gonna say, helping them socialize and relax, encourage them to participate in physical exercise and activities, hobbies that they like, that they love. All of those things
Mm.
are good to just help them come back to what was their good normal over what happened to them
Mm.
that disrupted that.
Wow. I like that you said they're normal. help them to come back to their normal, because everybody has got their own. I like that. So my takeaway
Yes.
from this particular one is never push, because sometimes we want to be the savior, like we just want to save them, and so we push so much that we cause another trauma. So thank you
Yep.
so much.
You're
For
welcome.
this has been absolutely wonderful, Antoinette. I've learned so much. I have learned so much. You have kind of like opened my eyes to so many things that I've been blind to in my society. And I know that sometimes, we say, I don't judge other people, but
In a
this is
way, we do.
in a way we do, because you always say, if I can survive it, why can't you? But what is the
Right.
thing? Wow. Wow.
Right.
Mm,
Right. And I'm gonna tell you something. Prior to my journey of becoming a life coach,
mm,
I was probably causing traumas in people not even realizing, because I did feel like this happened to me and I got through it and you over there crying about that. Yes, that was me. I felt like that, and I was kind of strong arm with it, a little pushy with it, like get up, we're not doing that, and da 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 da. And even sometimes, but it's a difference because I've learned my
mm,
clients. So there are
mm,
certain clients that I'm working with that even though we tell you, like we just had a conversation, don't be pushy. I have some clients that need that push. They need me to say,
mm,
we're not doing that today. We got this to do and we're going to do X, Y, and Z. And they
mm.
need that push. So, there's both ends of the spectrum there. And I think that it
Possibility.
takes, yeah, I think that it takes being in tune with that person, really knowing who you're dealing with and the type of help that they need from you. And if you don't know and you're not experienced enough to figure it out, then, just go with your heart and
Wow.
go with
Thank
what your heart feels.
thank you. So let's talk about your life coaching. How can we find you? If there's someone out there who says, I need to talk to someone, can I talk to you, Antoinette? Where can we find you?
You know what? The best way to connect with me is directly on social media. I
Mm,
like to use social media as my customer service tool, meaning that I'm very transparent there. Anybody
mm,
can pretty much see it. When you want to get private, then you can go right into the
okay.
direct message or the inbox. So please connect with me on social media at Ask Miss Logan. That is AskMsLogan. And yeah, we can get things going with whatever you need. I'll be honest with you, sometimes I've had to tell people I'm not who you need, but I will
Mm,
assist you and help you with getting the right person if I can't help you.
wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, Antoinette, thank you for this insightful session, I must say. I've learned a lot, and I hope you, our viewers, you have a lot of takeaways. I just want to just put it right there. Thank you, Antoinette. Thank you, Antoinette. Give her a shout out. Thank you so much for
Thank
honoring
you.
this invitation. God bless you, and keep doing what you're doing, because you're making impacts, right? And
Thank you.
what you're doing actually is putting something out there, healing out there, and just educating people, you know, and this is how we make our world a better place. So on
It
behalf of
is.
everyone, I want to say thank you for all that you do. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for having me. I appreciate it. I am glad to come on your platform and share. I hope that everyone watching really does have an understanding of the truth about trauma for real, right?
Yeah.
Um, I tell everyone with trauma or no trauma, use your affirmations to elevate the life that you are living to the life that you
Mm,
want to live. that
hallelujah.
that's what I do every day.
Mm,
My newest book, It Starts With I, is an affirmations book that really will get you where you want to go within your personal level. We're focusing on self-love, mindset, growth, business, wealth, and money. So do
wow.
use your affirmations, okay? Because
Where can we get
everything,
your book though? Where can we get your book?
you can get it from me directly, or my website, askmisslogan.com or
Yeah.
aimforbrands.com. But I'm really saying everything you want to do, it starts with
With
you.
you.
Yes. So
Yeah.
that's why the name of my book is It Starts With I, because it
Mm.
literally does. It
Yeah.
starts with you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Whoa, 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 whoa. What an amazing human being you are. And you're
Thank
just so full of energy. Thank you. Thank you so much. So please go get that book. Go get that book. It's on her website. Please go get that book. And also, we will be putting our website address out on the Daring Does page on Instagram. So please, just
thank
if you
you.
need any information about Miss Antoinette, it will be right there for you to grab and access her anytime. God bless you. Thank you so much. So until next time, for
Thank you
me,
for
I've
having
learned
me.
so much and I love it. And I just love the energy that you brought into the studio because, we're learning about this very sensitive thing, but just the way you just struck that balance of low key, just listen, and it's not boring. It's just spice and, truth just coming together. You want more. You just want more of it. And so thank you so much for bringing
Thank
it this way.
you.
And you, our viewers, I must say that it's not enough for you to just get all these things and sit on it. Act it out. That's the most
Yes.
important thing. Look around you and see who it is that needs your friendship. Sometimes we're just so hard on people around us. Be kind.
Yep.
You said that the other time. You said be kind. Be
Yes.
kind. And
Yes.
in all your relations, approach have that trauma, what did you call it again?
Trauma informed approach.
Trauma informed approach. It is important. You to have a
Absolutely.
better relationship. Have a trauma have a trauma
Informed
informed
approach.
approach. And now you are informed. So
Yep.
use that approach when you come in contact with people. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
on my side, all I have to say is bye bye and see you next time. God bless. Bye bye.
Bye bye.